So here we are, two hurt people, not knowing what to do with their pain. And he lashed out, sending nude images of mine to the franchise director at the moment. And I got called to the office, and I was told, it's done. It was heartbreaking. There was a lot of tears.
Yeah.
There was a lot of feelings of rejection, feelings of abandonment, you know, and it was really painful because this was everything I wanted. This was everything I knew myself to be. This was my hope. This was my faith. This was something I'd worked so hard to achieve, you know? I remember going home after the dethronement and going upstairs to the 9th floor of my apartment building, standing on the edge. You know, it was later at night, about 8:30 p.m. I was standing on the railing, feeling the wind, you know, against my face, and I wanted it over. Like, I didn't see what I was here for anymore. But in that moment, that was all I was surrounded by, was shame and blame and regret and anger, hopelessness. I was in such a deep state of victimization and just pain. It's all I knew, and especially with a background of depression.
So much has changed since Roshanara Ebrahim lost her crown in 2016, and on today's episode, she joins us to share her story of cyberbullying, dealing with depression, and gaining her strength and power. My name is Ann Nyathira, and this is Tuko Talks. Karibu sana.
Asante. Thank you for having me. Mimi niko poa.
You look lovely.
Thank you so much.
I love your makeup. I love your dress. I love everything that has to do with you.
Thank you so
Unapendeza sana. I
much.
hope it's not cold.
No, I love the weather in Nairobi. I feel like we live in one of the best cities in the world.
Wonderful.
In terms of everything.
Roshanara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my story, I think, has been very exciting. Growing up in Kenya, I was born in Nairobi, but my family are into gemstone mining. So we grew up in Taita since I was a little girl, and then moved to Mombasa, where I went to VZB Primary School in Chuda, and then moved to Light Academy in Nyali, went to high school in India, which was so exciting, but I remember bouts of extreme homesickness. Came back, went to University of Nairobi, studied and graduated law. And after that, I just, you know, throughout my entire life I've been modeling, but modeling really kicked off for me when I was in uni, having been scouted by Strutted Africa, which was the best agency in East Africa at the time. And then moving on, and I began modeling internationally, did shows in Tanzania, South Africa, Nigeria, and, you know, went on, you know, to even greater heights. And 2016 got crowned Miss World Kenya. Where I got dethroned. And even then, like, that still comes to be one of my biggest blessings, because it launched me, you know, to even more manifestations of my dream. And I'm currently Miss Universe Kenya and the author of my first book, Beyond the Darkness, which is the strategic guide to the new earth.
Lovely,
and I'm also a wellness coach, and soon to continue doing my own retreats around the world, which is so exciting.
Wow, you've done so much. And you know, I want us to go back, Kiasi, to when you started modeling. Is it something you always wanted to do, because you've spoken of doing law?
Yes.
Is it something you were interested in at a young age?
I believe my first fashion show was when I was 6 years old at Bombolulu, and it was Valentine's show. And I remember looking at these girls that were so much taller than me and so beautiful, and it was so iconic, you know, and that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. And family from Canada used to send me all these Barbie dolls as a kid, and that was it for me. This is, you know, the ideation of perfection, of beauty, of success, of, you know, and that's what I aspired to be. But somehow, you know, you get there and you realize that it's not about the external. Beauty comes from within. Fulfillment comes from within. So no matter what we aspire to achieve in the material world, it never really is going to be fulfilling.
It has to be from the inside.
It has to be from within. And I think the biggest shift for me with Miss World was I was looking for validation. I was looking for approval. I was looking to have my value affirmed to me from the outside world. And then losing all of that and, you know, getting to a point where I've lost the love of my life. I've lost what I thought was, you know, the dream, you know, why I was born, to, you know, getting to a point where I was standing on the edge. I remember going home after the dethronement and going upstairs to the 9th floor of my apartment building, standing on the edge. You know, it was later at night, about 8:30 p.m. I was standing on the railing, feeling the wind, you know, against my face, and I wanted it over. Like, I didn't see what I was here for anymore. But in that moment, that was all I was surrounded by, was shame and blame and regret and anger, hopelessness. I was in such a deep state of victimization and just pain. It's all I knew. And especially with a background of depression, you know, having gone through a stage where I was on antidepressants and mood stabilizers. And you know, there was an interesting shift in that moment as well, where I stood there and somehow I felt less empty than I did when I was actually depressed. So it kind of gave me perspective into clinical depression, where you don't even have to have a reason to be upset or to feel empty and dark. But here I was with a reason to be sad, and it still felt better in a way than depression did. And, you know, standing there and realizing that it could be over right now. Or I could sit back for a moment, take back my power, take a leap, because what do I have to lose? And
You've lost a lot already.
Yes, and I think that was my shift, you know, was realizing that I have nothing more to lose. I was at the bottom. And you know, I'm really grateful that my family was there for me. I'm really grateful that my brother, you know, left everything he was doing in Taita and came to me, and, you know, that was it. And I wrote emails to all the agencies that, you know, I dreamt of being admitted to in South Africa. And the best modeling agency in SA at the time wrote back to me and said, come for an interview.
Oh, wow.
So I took all the money I had and I booked that flight, not knowing what was on the other side. It was just absolute blind faith. And I feel like that's what the universe is about. When you surrender yourself absolutely, you trust that what's on the other side is what's meant for you. Letting go and letting God.
Yes,
you know,
control.
I got to Boss Models, and I remember freaking out because I had a pimple. And I said, of all the times to have a pimple now, like, you know, is it gonna spoil my chances? So I get into Boss Models, and my booker at the time, Chidi, she's such a sweetheart. She's a Zulu lady. She says, Rosh, can we take your measurements? We love you. We would absolutely love to have you. And I remember crying and saying, the pimple? Even with the pimple? Because you have this, you know,
but if
ideology.
It's yours, Roshanara, if it's yours, no one can take it away from you, right? No one
I
can
hear
take
you.
it away from you. And I want us to go back to the dethronement moment. How was the process like? I want our audience to really understand, because it was a huge deal then.
It
right?
absolutely
What
was.
really happened?
So what happened was that I was in a relationship where, you know, there was a lot of friction, and coming to the understanding now, he had no self-worth. I had no self-love. We were a match made in heaven. And I believe that, you know, you attract the energy that you are like at that point. So, you know, as an angry teenager and, you know, going through my stuff, I was always a nice person. I always had the best intentions, but there's always the subconscious trauma that occurs as a result of whatever your upbringing has been or what you've gone through in life. So here we are, two hurt people, not knowing what to do with their pain. And he lashed out, sending nude images of mine to the franchise director at the moment. And I got called to the office, and I was told, it's done.
How was your reaction like? Because that was huge. You had just won this. You're already working on some projects, right? And then you're told, like, you have to give us back the crown. How was your reaction like then?
It was heartbreaking. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of feelings of rejection, feelings of abandonment, you know, and it was really painful because this was everything I wanted. This was everything I knew myself to be. This was my hope. This was my faith. This was something I'd worked so hard to achieve, you know? And there it was, gone. And
just like that.
You know, for me, another part that was really painful was, this is a lady I called mom, and she's the only person who had these pictures. So, you know, my thing was, Mom, protect me.
Yeah.
He's trying to destroy me. Protect me.
Please have my back.
Have my back. You know, we don't have to do it this way. We can, you know, file for an injunction, which I did anyway, to make sure that no one got these pictures, so they never leaked. But does it have to be that I lose the crown? And sadly, she had already sent out the press statement, so it was already in the papers the next morning, and the rest was for me to deal with.
But you know what I love about you, Roshanara, is that you fought back, right? Not against the agency, but against this person that leaked those photos. And I loved it, like you showing up and taking this person to court and fighting for your dignity, because you deserve it, right?
You know,
how was the court process like?
Oh, my angel. It wasn't, you know, a lot of people say I did it to fight back. That wasn't the energy. This is a little girl who had been betrayed by the man of her life, who wasn't protected by a person she believed would protect her, who had lost her dream. And I was being threatened by the possibility that my pictures would leak and the whole world would see my pictures.
And no one deserves that.
And no one deserves that. That's painful. And so I remember having conversations, because, you know, it's extremely difficult turning your love for someone into hate. And that's just not how I was built. So I begged, you know, please, you know, write a letter admitting your guilt, and we don't have to go to court, because that's enough for the court to file an injunction through and to make sure that the pictures were safe. He refused. So the only way for me at that point was to go to court and ensure that my rights were protected, that these pictures weren't leaked. And, you know, even throughout the entire court process, there's so much more proof that I had that I could have, you know, given the courts to ensure that, you know, his punishment was much bigger, but I couldn't find it in me. For me at that point, it wasn't about losing or winning. It was about protecting my dignity, protecting myself. This is my body. It's my safe space. And I deserve to be in control of what's to show and what's not to show. And it was very cruel and very malicious on his side. But I believe that forgiveness is the biggest lesson that I learned out of that.
Have you forgiven him?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I wish the best for him, and we speak once in a while. And, you know, forgiveness is a really important lesson to learn in this lifetime, because it's not about the other person. It's about shrugging that energy off. It's about letting go of that resentment, letting go of that baggage, and allowing yourself to be light and be free again, and allow your heart to be open. Because fear, you know, and you know, the resentment and the anger, it closes the heart. And if you understand the most important way to live life is through the heart, because it connects you to everything and everyone. It connects you to the universe. And so closing your heart and holding onto negative emotion is detrimental to you. It's not to them. It's poisonous. So learning to set myself free has allowed me to step into my light, which is what I hope to share for the rest of my life.
Well said, well said. And you know, Roshanara, what I love about your case is that a lot of people go to understand the aspect of revenge porn. Let me just call it that.
It is.
Yeah, and before that, we didn't know what it was actually, but you winning that meant a lot to even women, because we tend to experience that a lot. We see naked bodies on social media, things that we did not even consent to. How was it like for you knowing that you won this case?
Firstly, I was happy because I was glad that, I'm safe.
Yeah.
And it's also a matter of, at this point, knowing that I went through this firsthand and I didn't go through it for myself.
Yeah.
I went through it for a generation of women who were going through something that, I was going through. And it was really special to see the law supporting me, to see Justice Murithi, really coming through and ensuring that, my rights were protected. And that's really special. So to have been a law graduate and then to set precedent, the first precedent in Kenya against revenge porn is making history. But at that point, all I was a little girl seeking for help.
You didn't even know the impact, right?
I didn't know the impact.
Wow. And that's why we keep on saying that just do that thing. You never know who you're going to impact.
Exactly.
You never know how it's going to change people's life. It will come later.
The next right step.
Yes.
The next trusting step. Absolutely.
So earlier on in the interview, you mentioned battling depression. Let's talk more about that.
Absolutely. What would you like to know?
I want to know, how was it like for you then? How were you dealing with it? Did you have a supporting system?
I feel like depression is a very tricky experience to go through. It isolates you from yourself, from everyone around you. It isolates you from feelings of positivity, of goodness. I remember, going out on the beach and looking at a beautiful sunset, and I would sit there just thinking, why? What is it? It's just sunset. Or go to a beautiful garden and just not understand what the point was. What's beauty? What's joy? What's happiness? And then everyone else around you is smiling and laughing, and at that point my friends would party. I wouldn't be able to go out and genuinely smile and laugh. And a lot of my work actually throughout the years has been to genuinely smile, and not, smile on demand because that's what your body has been taught to do. But, I feel like I really shut out the people that meant the most to me. And I'm really grateful actually that my ex at the time was one of my closest confidants. We were always together, and that was my lifeline. But what depression does is it really separates you from the world, and you feel like you're in absolute darkness and you can't fathom feeling good. So I believe that, understanding the tools now, meditating, dancing releases the body of that energy, increases the serotonin in your mind, so you're able to start releasing more happy hormones, more endorphins. And then support system. Once you're at a positive enough space, then you're able to feel love and you're able to feel connection to people, and that's when my family really did come in handy. It was difficult at some point because my mom was an alcoholic for 36 years. So, that was an off and on relationship. But I really feel like, through the life skills that I've picked up, meditation, yoga, dieting on, healthy organic food. I do eat meat from time to time, but I feel like going vegan really did help. And that allows you to naturally come into a healthier space. I weaned off my medication and I've never been happier. So there is a hope for people going through meditation, and a big part of my career now is helping people cross that bridge.
That's beautiful. How is your relationship with your mom today?
Oh, she's amazing. She's 5 years sober now.
Oh, wow.
Which is amazing.
Congrats to her.
Yes,
I
congrats to her.
love
My
that.
mom is a really strong woman, and she's my best friend. I'm extremely proud of her and her journey. And, I love how, my story seems like, it came from a really extremely dark period at some point, but through prayer, through gratitude, through forgiveness, we've been able to shed all those layers and be happy.
And I love what you've said, prayers, forgiveness, and gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
Now, I want us to talk about the Miss Universe pageant, right? How was it like?
It was amazing.
Please do tell.
It was a dream come true. And Miss Universe is the biggest beauty pageant in the
I
world
know.
at
Let
the
me ask
moment.
you, did you get to
It's so
interact with
progressive.
Steve Harvey?
Yes, I did.
Oh, do you have a
Steve
photo?
is amazing. So I do have a few photos, yes.
How is he?
But I feel like after the competition, our phones were backstage and our priorities were different. So I wish I did take more photos, but I was just in the moment at that point.
How was it like?
It was amazing, really. There's nothing I can say to you that would really, you know, help me articulate how magical those moments were. But, you know, through experiencing Israel, which I wasn't so sure about initially, but witnessing the culture there and how beautiful it is, the history, going to Nazareth, experiencing, you know, the pilgrimage where, you know, Jesus was, where he was crucified, where he resurrected from the tomb, to the leaping mountain where when he was being chased, you know, he jumped off the mountain. So we went there, and the Church of Annunciation, where Mother Mary was told by Angel Gabriel that she would conceive. Witnessing so much, but then also the other side, the development, how amazing their oceans are, and the dolphin excursions. We saw Israel in such a beautiful way, and the girls from all over the world are, you know, exquisite ladies with such beautiful intentions and powerful agendas, and to be surrounded by that level of accomplishment and beauty was magnificent.
It was magnificent, and I love
and
that
the organization, the production, Steve Harvey, growing up listening to JoJo and performing on stage with her, the dance rehearsals, the choreographers. It was so well put together. And, you know, here we say, you know, experience the journey, be in the moment, be in the present moment, enjoy every step, appreciate your surroundings. I'm so grateful that I took in every second of that experience. And that I got the most out of it, and I'm really grateful.
And I'm so happy for
Thank you.
You deserve it.
And Kenyans were so supportive. I felt that love and I felt that pride. There's no other country I would ever want to represent. Kenya is my home, it's my soul, it's my blood, and I'm so excited to keep elevating what we have. Thank you.
And you know, being the Miss Universe 2021, right? When you were there
and
on that
22.
stage, and 2022,
until the next girl is here, I'm excited to see who she is and guide her through. It's a sisterhood.
Okay, so did you think that with your history, and you know sometimes history can judge us harshly, when you were there, did you think that you would have won?
I did, actually, the entire time.
I love your comments, I love your faith.
I really felt like we were never at a disadvantage. And, you know, I had this mentality, you know, visualizing the crown, visualizing everything up until the end.
Manifesting.
Yes, but not being called top 16 was a total surprise to me. But I also was really genuinely happy for the girls that did make it, because my prayer was guide me on a path of love and light. Allow me to fulfill my highest destiny. If this is part of my destiny, so be it. If not, I trust the universe absolutely. And, you know, looking at Harnaz and seeing her journey, and there's just so much love in my heart for her and for the organization. And I know that this is just the beginning for me.
Perfect. I want us to talk about your book.
My book? Yes.
What motivated you to write that book?
Wow. What motivated me to write the book? I feel like many authors in the world will share this sentiment with me when I say the book wrote itself. I was captivated. You know, there were naturally, you know, I'm a writer. That's how I communicate at the deepest levels with myself, other than through meditation. But I've cultivated a practice where every morning and every evening, I'll just write what comes to my mind. And a lot of the times I channel really high vibrational divine messages that I really wanted to share. And so the journey of writing this book was interesting because it felt like there was nothing else that appealed to me more. There was nothing I was more passionate about. And I knew that I had to pause my life and pay 100% attention to the wisdom that would come through. And so this book is a lot of work around my travels around the world, but also really deep spiritual concepts that I've integrated throughout my life, and my answers to how I healed my depression, how I got to know myself deeper, how I built a deeper connection with the universe. It's about connecting to the heart. It's about deeper levels of gratitude, of forgiveness, of how to connect to the beauty of nature, how to connect to each other, how to tap into love as opposed to fear. It's about how, to heal the world through healing ourselves. And I feel like the messages in this book are so crucial to how we move on as humanity, and how to continue to go deeper into the heart-centered presence, as opposed to focusing on achievement and focusing on the material world, which yes is important, but is not the answer to how we continue to save nature and protect each other and be genuinely happy.
So Roshanara, how can people get this book?
So the book is available on Amazon, on Kindle. The book website is on my Instagram at Roshanara Love. Follow. I love those numbers going up. Also available at all textbook centers, at Educate Yourself at Westgate. It's also available on Kindle. So there's no excuse for you not to get it.
What's the title?
It's called Beyond the Darkness.
Oh, it's lovely. The Strategic Guide to the New Earth.
Yes, the Strategic Guide to the New Earth. The New Earth being a place where we value human connection, where we are having a heart-centered existence, where we understand self-love and compassion, and are in tune with the earth and in tune with our bodies, understanding mind, body, spirit, and heart coherence, because we're human beings. We're not human doings at the end of the day. And the reason that, depression rates and suicide rates are so high is because people are being separated from their internal selves. You're so disconnected, and you're trying, to find a deeper connection to yourself, and you can't. So you feel like the easiest way is to just get out the game, like end it, because it's too painful. But there's a way to heal that. And it's as simple as finding moments in your day to just sit down and breathe.
And exhale.
Inhale deeply and exhale, And what that does is it decompresses your central nervous system. And decompressing your central nervous system allows more feel-good hormones to come up. You start, producing more serotonin, more melatonin. You start to sleep better. You start to regulate your diet and your cravings. You're not releasing as much cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And now you're able to make more centered decisions. Naturally, your heart relaxes, because your heart controls your body. Your heart stops beating, you're dead. You stop breathing, you're dead. But to learn how to do this more consciously, you start to feel more love for yourself, more love for the outside, more love for this earth that protects us, that grounds us, that supports us. And just that shift makes the world a better place, makes life easier to live. And the more love you cultivate within yourself, the more love you're able to share. And the more and more love we cultivate within ourselves, within our communities, the better place the world is.
And Roshanara, I love the place you are right now. And I know it wasn't easy, right?
Take us
through it a little bit, because some of us may not even understand what it took for you to be here today, right? Just tell us a little bit.
I really believe that it's about having a vision much bigger than yourself. So many of us limit ourselves to, this is how much money I'll earn, or the 9 to 5, or I'm going to feel validated by the person that I'm dating, regardless of whether I'm happy and fulfilled or not. And it's really not that simple. You are made in the likeness of God. What are you here to achieve? What's the most unbelievable dream that you could step into? Breathe into that vision, visualize it, see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, know it, believe it, become it. One inspired action at a time, you know?
Yeah.
And it took that moment on that railing for me to say, that's the life I want to step out of, sure, but is that everything I am? No. What do I want to be? What do I have to lose by dreaming that? What do I have to lose by visualizing what could be?
Yeah.
And that's where the dream continued. So I dreamt, you know, Miss Universe was the biggest dream, because I said, well, Miss World hasn't worked. That doesn't mean it's the end of pageants for
Everyone
me.
deserves a second chance.
My modeling is another dream of mine. It brings me joy, it brings me passion. I would do it for free for the rest of my life. Life doesn't work that way, but I would. And I still have my law degree, but that didn't bring me joy as much. And so taking that leap and going to South Africa, you know, was that inspired action. And trust, I was held. And we all can be, we all are, whether we know it or not. You learn how to trust by trusting.
By trusting.
You know?
Well said.
So dream a big dream. Never limit yourself, because the day you stop dreaming is the day you start dying. And faith is a dark night. Have faith. It doesn't hurt to have faith. It doesn't have to hurt to believe your value and what you deserve. You know? You deserve that relationship of your dreams. You deserve the bank account that gives you freedom. You deserve your dream job. You deserve to look like your best self. And you have the power. And realizing that the power is not anywhere beyond yourself makes you feel empowered. And that feeling of knowing I can, and I am, and I shall.
And you shall.
That makes life worth living.
It's just all about making the first step.
That's
and going
it.
for it.
And it's about the little steps. And here's another thing. As a perfectionist before, you set such incredible, you know, heights and expectations for yourself that it becomes intimidating, and you feel small, and you run away and you hide. And I remember that led to me being in my room for weeks on end, not wanting to leave, not wanting to do anything. And that's another, you know, sign of depression. But saying, it's the little step. I'm going to go walk in Karura today and, you know, be around nature and feel okay for the next 10 minutes or maybe even for 1 minute today. And then you find yourself smiling and you find yourself happy. Oh my God, I did it. That's how it feels. And the more you find the better feeling thoughts, the more you can become more familiar intentionally with the better feeling thought. And then later on, with time, that becomes your norm.
And I think also it's also important to have a supporting system, be it a family, a friend. So long as you have someone close to you who really and genuinely cares about you, then I think you can come out of that situation, right?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because there's a beauty about finding the strength within and realizing who I am. Who am I? And those are questions you can't answer with people around you. And what that can do as well is build a codependency, right? And if you look at my story, the person I was dating at the time was my everything. I was in a codependent relationship. That was my source of comfort. It was my source of happiness. It was my source of life. And it had to be so extreme for me to break out of that pattern. And what's crazy is even after the dethronement, even after I knew what he did, I still went back to him. I still went back to him because I didn't know anything else. And so this is where the victim mindset comes from, is you believe that you need other people to be okay. You don't.
I love what you've just said, and I feel educated.
You
Thank you
are
so
your
much.
power.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Are you in a relationship right now?
Well, it's a really beautiful journey because I feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting to know someone. And I really believe that slow and steady wins the race. And I believe that it's all about the foundation. So I can see that we will you know, take it to the next level in the foreseeable future. But I'm very excited to just, you know, take it slow and feel out the friendship and, you know, communicate consciously to each other what's important to us, what's fulfilling, and see that we can grow together as two whole human beings.
Yeah.
I always say that when you go into a relationship for someone to complete you, you'll always feel the void within yourself. So cultivating that level of self-love, self-compassion, self-knowledge fuels you. You fuel yourself, you know, and that void can usually go downstream, but what you want your life to be is constantly upstream, constantly growing, constantly integrating more love and more joy and more gratitude and more playfulness, and that's what I want to achieve.
You know, Roshanara, I really appreciate you today because I'm learning a lot from you about
Thank
self-love
you.
and accepting yourself. Really, really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
Aww.
Let's talk about your future projects.
So, realizing that I want to live a life of absolute purpose beyond me has brought me to realize that I want to work with children with disabilities, and I already am. So as soon as I was crowned Miss Universe, and even before, I've been working, you know, with different organizations with, you know, kids with disabilities, autism, cerebral palsy, and also working with the environment. I really believe that the answer to health, to mental health, to physical health, to emotional health, to spiritual health is nature. So I want to work to sustain the environment, to make sure that we're planting more trees, sustainable living, educating and sensitizing people around how to eat organic, how to reduce our carbon footprint. So my life is in service to the universe now, which makes me so happy.
It makes me so happy too.
I could actually cry. I'm filled with so much joy.
It's allowed. It's okay. It's good to show emotions, right?
It is, and it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't. And that's another thing is, you know, we live in a society where people say men don't cry or we shouldn't cry. You know, women who, mothers especially, like, and I feel like a big shift for my own mother would have been for her to feel safe enough to cry when she was going through her pain. And, you know, not feeling like she could share her pain left her feeling like the only avenue she could resort to was alcohol and to segregate and isolate herself, right? But now the emotional space we've cultivated with each other is, if you're not okay, share, cry, it's okay. You know, just like it feels great when it's been hot and dusty, when it rains you feel, you know, like it's fresh again and it's happy and everything's starting afresh. So even in my relationships, I say the most beautiful type of man is a man that can be vulnerable, a man that's okay loving himself and showing his most authentic, deep, most loving self, allows a woman to nurture him just as beautifully. And as women, we feel the most loved when we're able to nurture the most. So it's a beautiful balance, and emotion is a beautiful thing, and keeping it inside creates a toxic environment for our body, and that's how disease manifests. So set yourself free.
Well said, Roshanara. And what advice do you have for young girls, maybe who are looking up to you, or that young girl right now who is about to send or share a nude pic with someone else? Because I know it costs you a lot, and I feel like sometimes we do things maybe out of excitement, ignorance, but you really don't know the implications of the decisions that you're making at a young age. What would you tell them today?
This is a hot and cold conversation. Firstly, because I feel like the society that we live in a very perverse way, objectifies the human body. This is what we were born in. Everybody has a body. This is your expression. And so there's that side to it where I don't believe that you should be able to turn someone else's body and use it as a weapon. That shows you firstly that there's something extremely wrong in society. But at the same time, you know, there's a question where vulnerability is beautiful, and feeling that level of safety and trust and being able to open yourself in that way is a beautiful thing. And to tell someone that it's not fair and, you know, it's not safe to do that, don't do that, feels like you're inherently telling them that we live in a bad world.
Yeah.
So there's a catch-24 there. My answer would just be, as a child, enjoy your life, be free, play your games, remember joy, remember playfulness, remember your innocence, and cultivate that. You have time to tap into your sexuality and your sensuality later on in life. Create foundations that are beautiful.
Yeah.
Get to know each other on a human level. Go out, play. Your sexuality can be cultivated later on in your relationship, where you absolutely have no doubt in, and even then, like, you can't, I don't really believe that you can't tell, because there's nothing that could have prepared me for what I went through. And I'm grateful that I went through what I went through, because it brought me into my space. So we all have a destiny, and I believe that you manifest at the level that you are. So focus within, focus on who you are, focus on how you feel. If you feel great and you feel happy and you feel fulfilled and you feel whole, the person that you'll attract will feel the same. And do things in private. I don't believe that, you know, texting and sharing things over the phone necessarily brings you any more fulfillment than it would if you were in person, eye gazing, connecting to each other's hearts, really celebrating your union together. You can do that in person, and that brings you another level of safety and security and frees you from doubts. So I would say cultivate your present moment together.
Cultivate your present moments together.
Because through all these years, I have shared even more beautiful, intimate moments, and never at any point did I feel a sense of lack because I didn't want to share my photos over the phone. And if this is something I've never felt like I needed to do after, then it kind of invalidates why I needed to feel like I needed to share my photos before. So it's just unnecessary. Don't.
Okay. And as you wind up, how can people get you? Maybe on Instagram, Facebook, your social platform?
My social media handles are all Roshanara Love, which is on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and I'm always available. My email address is roshanara@roshanaralove.com.
Perfect.
And I look forward to hearing from
you. And Rosha, we cannot end this interview without giving you the time to shout out to this great designer.
Yes, isn't my outfit awesome? This is by Lizo Gumbo. She's an amazing designer, she's a musician, she has a wine company, a coffee company. She's my definition of, you know, the divine feminine, and she embodies, you know, art and creativity so beautifully. And, you know, she dressed me throughout many events at the pageant in Israel, and I'm so grateful for her. Isn't it a beautiful dress?
It's lovely. I love it.
I feel like a peacock.
I know.
Or a phoenix.
Like it's lovely.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Any last words to your fans? Those who supported you when you're starting out until to date?
I really believe that I couldn't have done it without you. So I'm really grateful for powering me on throughout the entire time, supporting me, following me on my social media handles, letting me know what it is that you want more of, and I'm really happy and excited to serve. And I would also like to offer my one-on-one coaching sessions as a qualified quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, as an energy healer, as well as having gone through many mindful practice trainings and mental health coaching courses. I'd like to offer my services. So if you believe that you would benefit from what I have to offer, let me know, DM me, email me, and I'd be happy to discuss.
What's your email address? if they want to reach out?
Roshanara at roshanaralove.com.
Repeat that again, please.
Roshanara at roshanaralove.com. That's ROSHANARALOVE.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much, Roshanara. I
perfect.
really appreciate it. Let me just call you Rosha,
Oh,
because
love
you're
it.
girls now.
Rosh.
I
Yeah.
know, Rosh. I love
love
that. Rosh. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
really
for having
appreciate you
me.
so much. You look lovely. You've
Thank
graced
you.
us with
And
that
you.
dress. Thank you so much. I said because I'm meeting Rosh today, I have to do dress.
Oh my gosh, you're
Alright,
doing it. You should audition for the next Miss
Are you
Universe.
for real? No, I don't think I can actually.
Why not?
I'm like a 5'5".
Oh my god, girl, the girl who won was your height.
Are you for real?
Yes, Miss Universe is really, and here's the thing, there's no such thing as a perfect body. Like, that's just an illusion, and you
I
come to
love your
realize that.
positivity.
You come to realize that is, as women, we're all beautiful and we all have something to bring to the table. And so, going to Miss Universe and seeing girls as short as like 5'3", 5'4", to as tall as 5'10", 5'11", or to be really tiny, skinny girls, or really curvy girls. We're all beautiful. We're all, soulful women making our impact in the world. And that's what makes us beautiful.
I love you so much. And I just wish this interview will not come to an end, but unfortunately we have to. But I want us to do something interesting.
Tell me.
I want you to sign out today. You're going to end the show.
How do you want me to do that?
Just flow with it. Just flow with it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been such a pleasure. I hope you've picked up as much from this interview as we would like you to. We hope it's been inspiring. We hope it's been uplifting. We hope it's, entertained you as well. And thank you for watching. This is Tuko.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.